Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to pause for a moment and think about the last text conversation you had with a woman you were interested in. Was it magnetic? Did it leave her wanting more? Or was it just another chat that faded into silence? So many men lose attraction, not in person, but in their texts. But what if I told you there are texting secrets that ignite her desire, trigger emotional intrigue, and pull her into your world without ever needing to chase? Let's go deep. This isn't about playing games. It's about communicating with intention, masculine presence, and a subtle emotional edge that most men overlook. Today, I'm going to reveal 3 texting secrets women simply cannot resist when done right. 1. Text like a movie trailer, not a full movie. Women are emotional creatures, not in a weak way, but in a deeply intuitive, connected way. So if you're texting her every little detail about your day, where you are, what you're eating, how bored you are, you're not building curiosity, you're killing it. Instead, learn to drop emotional cliffhangers. Say things like, "You won't believe what happened today. I'll tell you later." This creates suspense. She'll spend the next few hours wondering about it. That emotional investment, that's what makes your message linger in her mind. You've made her curious. And curiosity, my friend, is emotional glue. If there's one thing most men overlook when texting women, it's the power of emotional curiosity. This isn't about being clever or flashy. It's about knowing how to spark her emotions, how to ignite a part of her mind that begins asking, "What did he mean by that?" Or "Why am I smiling right now just reading this?" When you master emotional curiosity, your messages don't just show up on her phone, they stay with her. Long after she reads them, she's still thinking about you. So, what is emotional curiosity, really? It's the ability to send a message that isn't just factual or informational, but emotionally engaging. A message that invites her to feel something: wonder, excitement, playfulness, mystery, or even a little tension. Because let's be honest, women don't fall for men who just talk. They fall for the man who makes them feel something they haven't felt in a long time. Most guys text like they're filling out a job application. How was your day? What are you doing now? How was work? It's not that these questions are wrong. They're just emotionally flat. They don't evoke anything. There's no color, no mood, no edge to them. And women, by nature, crave emotional stimulation. So if your texts don't light up that side of her, she may still reply, but her emotional connection to you, it's fading. Now, let's flip the script. Imagine saying, "I had the strangest thought about you today, but I'll save it for when we talk." Or, you ever have one of those days where one person just keeps showing up in your mind for no reason? These aren't just texts. They're emotional open loops. She doesn't just read the message. She feels it. Her mind starts turning. What did he think about me? What's he going to say next? Why am I smiling like an idiot right now? And that's the key. Curiosity opens the emotional door. Once it's open, you don't need to force anything. You've made her lean in, and now she wants to know more. That emotional engagement is what pulls her toward you. She's not responding out of politeness anymore. She's responding from interest, from intrigue, and from an emotional place. What makes this even more powerful is that it shows you're emotionally intelligent. You're not just looking for quick attention or shallow validation. You're communicating with presence. You're creating moments that feel different from the dozens of boring, thoughtless messages she gets from other men. And that difference makes you stand out effortlessly. But remember, emotional curiosity isn't about being mysterious just for the sake of it. It's about being intentionally laid. You give her just enough to feel something, but not so much that she can immediately figure you out. You create messages that offer meaning, that stir emotion, that hint at depth. And in doing so, you invite her to connect, not just with what you say, but with how you make her feel when you say it. You want to be the text she reads twice, the one she shows her best friend. the one she smiles at when no one's looking. That kind of connection doesn't come from being obvious. It comes from crafting messages with emotional nuance. Messages that spark curiosity, create suspense, and evoke warmth, playfulness, or even a little challenge. Because when a woman feels emotionally curious about you, she doesn't just wait for your next text, she hopes for it. And that, right there, is how you create real magnetic attraction without ever needing to chase. 2. Master the power of suggestive simplicity. This one is subtle, but incredibly powerful. Don't over-text or double-text just to fill the silence. Instead, learn to say more by saying less. Let your words carry intent. Let them feel emotionally loaded without being needy. Try messages like, "You look dangerous in that photo. Not sure if I should be intrigued or concerned." Notice what that line does. It's playful, it's masculine, it's mysterious. You're complimenting her and teasing her at the same time. That blend, that's irresistible. Because here's the truth. Most men text like they're asking for approval. High-value men, they text like they already have it. The power of suggestive simplicity in texting is one of the most underestimated skills men can develop, and yet it's the one thing that separates the average guy from the one she can't stop thinking about. It's not about saying a lot, it's about knowing what to say, how to say it, and when to leave just enough space for her imagination to run wild. Because women don't fall for men who explain everything, they fall for men who imply, who hint, who leave emotional breadcrumbs instead of detailed maps. Too many men fall into the trap of trying to be overly clear, overly available, or overly expressive in their texts, thinking that more equals better. They text paragraph after paragraph, flooding her with information, trying to impress her with their thoughts or intentions. But what this often does is remove the mystery and the emotional flavor from the interaction. It becomes transactional rather than magnetic. She may respond out of politeness, but she won't feel pulled in. Why? Because nothing was left to chase. Nothing was left unsaid. And it's in that unsaid space that attraction grows. Suggestive simplicity works because it speaks to a woman's emotional side without needing to spell everything out. For example, instead of saying, "You looked really nice in that picture you posted today. I liked your dress and the way you did your hair," a high-value man would say, "There's something dangerously distracting about that photo you posted." That one sentence carries weight. It's not just a compliment, it's a challenge, it's a tease, and it's emotionally suggestive. It says you noticed her, but you're not worshiping her. You're drawing her in, not chasing her down. Another powerful way to use suggestive simplicity is through humor and playful tension. Instead of asking, "What are you doing this weekend?" you might say, "I've got a few ideas that could either get us into trouble or make us legends. Curious which you'd choose." That line shows confidence, charisma, and imagination, all while inviting her into a shared experience that hasn't even happened yet. It opens a loop in her mind. That's emotional attraction in action. The beauty of suggestive texting is that it communicates emotional depth without being needy. You're not texting to get validation. You're texting to create a moment. And when you send a message that has energy, tone, and subtle emotional charge behind it, it lingers. She might read it again later. She might show it to a friend. She might wonder what you meant. And in that wondering, she gets emotionally invested. It's also important to know when to stop. High-value texting doesn't chase replies. It doesn't double text. It doesn't fill silence just to keep her engaged. If you've sent a message that hits emotionally, you let it sit. You don't dilute it by over-explaining or immediately following up. You trust the power of your words to work without force. And that's what makes them powerful. So remember, every time you pick up your phone to text her, ask yourself, am I texting to impress her or am I texting to inspire emotion? The man who impresses her gets forgotten. The man who makes her feel something, that's the man she can't stop thinking about. Here's an undeniable truth in attraction. Mystery creates desire. What you withhold is often more powerful than what you reveal. And when it comes to texting, the man who understands the art of strategic mystery holds a deeper level of control, not in a manipulative way, but in a way that evokes curiosity and emotional investment. Because let's be real, women are drawn to men who don't lay it all out too soon. The man who doesn't always say everything, who keeps her guessing just enough, is the man whose messages she rereads, wonders about, and feels pulled toward. When you say less, you leave space for her imagination to go to work, and that's exactly where attraction begins, in her mind. A mysterious text invites her to fill in the blanks, to create emotional meaning from what's unsaid. It gives her something to chase, because she wants to figure you out. This doesn't mean being vague or cold. It means being intentional about how much of your thoughts, your plans, and your emotions you reveal early on. Imagine this. Instead of telling her your exact weekend schedule or every detail about your day, you say something like, let's just say the weekend got interesting. No explanation, no follow-up. You've just created an emotional hook. She's left wondering, what happened? Who are you with? Why does it sound intriguing? That simple line creates a mental loop, and as long as that loop is open, she remains emotionally connected to you, even if you're not texting constantly. Men who are too available, too open, or too quick to respond often remove that sense of mystery. They kill the chase before it even begins. But the man who knows how to pull back just enough, to hold a part of himself back while still being emotionally present, becomes incredibly attractive. He becomes a puzzle, a delicious one, something she wants to solve, understand, and win over. That's the power of strategic mystery. You also use mystery to frame your identity. Don't be the guy who brags about everything he's done. Instead, drop hints. Let her ask the questions. Say things like, that reminds me of something I used to do when I lived overseas, but that's a story for another day. Boom, she's hooked. She'll either ask more or she'll remember that line and bring it up later. Either way, she's leaning in. You're not just a text, you've become a narrative. And humans, especially women, are wired to follow narratives that spark emotion and unanswered questions. One of the most attractive qualities a man can express over text is restraint. When you hold back from over-explaining, oversharing, or rushing into emotional exposure, you show discipline. And discipline is masculine. It shows her that you're not texting to seek approval, you're texting because you choose to engage, and you're in no rush to prove yourself. You're the storm she hasn't figured out yet. And that makes her feel something most men never make her feel: emotional anticipation. But understand, mystery doesn't mean being emotionally unavailable or silent to the point of detachment. It's about creating just the right amount of space for her curiosity to grow, while still giving her small windows into your world. It's the balance between revealing just enough and holding back just a little. It's saying things that invite her to ask why you said them, what you meant, or what you'll say next. That's what strategic mystery does. It builds emotional tension. And tension is the spark of desire. So next time you text her, ask yourself, am I giving her a statement or am I giving her a story she'll want to unravel? Because the man who masters mystery doesn't just get attention, he owns it. Texting isn't just about the words you use, it's about the rhythm of your communication. And one of the most overlooked elements of attraction is timing. The timing of your messages speaks louder than most men realize. In fact, it communicates confidence, self-worth, emotional control, and masculine discipline, all without saying a word. Because the truth is, a well-timed silence can carry more weight than a flood of perfectly crafted words. Women notice timing. We feel it. We sense when a man is replying instantly because he's anxious or afraid to lose our attention. We pick up on it when he's always available, always texting back right away, always right there in the palm of our hands. And while it may seem like that kind of attentiveness would win her over, it rarely does. Why? Because instant availability doesn't create value. It doesn't build anticipation. It doesn't make her wait. And anything that comes too easily, too quickly, and too often is never truly valued. Now let me be clear. This isn't about playing childish games or trying to manipulate someone. This is about mastering. It's about learning to pause with purpose. Because sometimes the most attractive thing a man can do is not reply right away. He gives the interaction space to breathe. He allows the tension to rise. He lets her feel the gap, just enough to spark curiosity, just enough to make her wonder. If you're always there the second she texts, you train her to expect you as a constant. But if you create just a bit of unpredictability in your timing, if you show her that your life is full, that your attention isn't on standby for anyone, she naturally begins to value every reply more. She starts checking her phone more often. She reads into your pauses. She feels the emotional suspense. And that suspense, that's the seed of desire. A high-value man is not emotionally reactive. He doesn't jump the moment she reaches out, not because he's playing hard to get, but because he's actually hard to get. His attention is earned. His time is not on sale. He doesn't need to rush to reply to prove interest because he knows his presence alone is valuable. That level of internal control shows strength. And women feel deeply attracted to that. Think about the last time someone made you wait just a little for something you really wanted. A message, a response, a decision. That waiting created tension, didn't it? And in that tension, you became more invested, more curious, more emotionally engaged. That's how powerful timing is. That's what most men ignore in their rush to be liked, approved, or validated. But the emotionally grounded man, he lets the silence do some of the talking. Emotionally charged text, but follow it up too soon with another one, you weaken its effect. It's like playing your favorite song and skipping to the next track before the chorus ends. But if you send one strong message and let it sit, no follow-up, no over-explaining, it echoes in her mind. She rereads it. She thinks about what it meant. She starts to feel you even when you're silent. That's the energy you want to create. Ultimately, timing mastery in texting is about being deliberate with your energy. It means slowing down, being intentional, holding back just enough to build suspense. Because in a world of instant gratification, the man who isn't in a hurry stands out. And the man who knows when to pause becomes the man she can't stop thinking about.